Let's talk about the Hema Committee report, Mr. Varma. Mr. Varma, do you think that it is now time that some kind of a change will be brought about finally? And I don't want to only cherry pick the Malayalam film industry. All throughout, there will be a change because this has been, this has snowballed into a very big issue, Mr. Varma.
Yeah. See, frankly, I mean, this is not the first time this happened to start with, right from Harvey Weinstein time to 2017. I feel, one problem is to generalize the thing because they're on a very, very case-to-case basis what happens. And it happens mostly between people. And whenever the media makes a big hue and cry, I feel it will be there for maybe a couple of weeks or something, not more than that. And when it didn't work out last time, I don't see any reason why it should work out this time. And this is something which is being talked about probably since 20th Century Fox founder. It's been from there, actually.
Yeah.
So I feel the committee's recommendations, I'm not very sure they're practical, implemented. The reason being, 70 to 80% of the film industry, they're very fly-by-night operators. The producers, they just have some money from somewhere and they just want to make it for the glamour. But they also, by default, become a part of the industry. And most of what you're talking about there, I'm not saying it doesn't happen at big production houses. I'm not saying that. But the bulk of it will happen there. And that's a very unregulated kind of a organization where no rules can really work. But that is the main problem because of the disorganized way the film industry functions.
Yeah. All right. So that is the reason, Mr. Varma, that a committee should be set up where I can go even if I'm a junior artist or I dance with the extras in the background, so that I can go and at least there can be an investigation. If it is not regulated, then, I understand people being...
My point is it cannot be regulated because, this happens if, for example, someone wants to come and make a film,
Okay.
And right now there are unions, not that there aren't, like the Junior Artists Union is there, the Fighters Union, regarding the pay scale and those kind of things, they will try to kind of regulate that they get the money what has been committed for. But in terms of the harassment issue, I believe it works on a very one-to-one level. Even the organizations can really not do it. And it's not as if the complaints don't come. But it is somewhere the desire of the actors to be there. And it doesn't happen the way it is being projected. Harassment doesn't come in a direct warning or a threat. It happens over a period of time. Like they first show a certain promise, a certain hope, where they slowly try to bend the will of the aspiring actress. And it happens slowly. And and each person will have a different way of doing it. And that to be curtailed and controlled, I really don't know.
Well, I think...
And as far as when the girl feels that kind of a pressure, anyway, the laws are there for her to, she can do a complaint anytime. We don't need an internal thing for that.
Most of the time they are scared. I recall a scene from your movie where this young girl goes for an audition to a man who is visually impaired. We remember that scene very well and how she's exploited. Sir, I've seen all your movies. Let me tell you something that, in most cases, in that case, the girl comes away. But in most cases, these are such helpless, a lot of people. You see, Mr. Varma, power comes when you try to exploit someone who's powerless. Yes, it has been happening, but should it be happening is my question. If my family is dependent on me, Mr. Varma, if I walk out of the film, it is not only that you throw me, that producer throws me out of the film, I'll be thrown out of the industry. Look at what happened to Sri Reddy, sir.
Yeah. No, see, I think that's a little bit exaggerated, what you're saying. See, first of all, I do not believe there exists a kind of a mafia who are going to get together and throw out an actress if she doesn't comply. See, it is possible, definitely for sure, that a guy will claim that he might tell a girl who's probably ignorant of the industry's working. He might make her believe that I am me and I control the industry of large part of it, and I can see that you won't get any work. And on a threat or intimidation, an individual can do that. But I don't believe there's actually a mafia kind of a group doing that, This is one part. Now the second part is when if if for example an actress comes, most of the time she'll be very ignorant about how the industry works, how casting happens, because they come from the small towns or probably not related to the film industry most of the time. So they are being told a lot of false information. The casting directors to assistant directors to various people will fill their heads with all kinds of misinformation.
Okay.
And she'll be very confused in context of what to believe and what not to believe. Now the other thing is on a psychological level. See, if she's made to believe that she's going to get some work or an opportunity in a film, and she would believe, and the person who said that sometimes can maybe mean it, but he doesn't really have the power to make it happen. Sometimes they will blatantly lie for some kind of a sexual gratification, And but it happens so. I mean, between one to one, I feel a committee. For example, there was a certain talk when the 2017 thing happened. All auditions only can happen in the presence of some committee members of the Artists Association or something to avoid this kind of a thing. But it is not practical because most of this happened in WhatsApp on a personal level in chats. These kind of whatever. Now the existing laws are there if the girl really wants to take someone to task. But what I think is more important, the emphasis should be on educating the incoming actresses about how exactly the film industry functions, what kind of things can happen, what lies can happen, and just to keep a record of that.
Mr. Varma, who will tell her that? I mean, if you go from small town, she's coming from, small village, let's say near Guntur, or she's coming from Pudukkottai in Tamil Nadu, who's there to tell her that these things will happen?
My one suggestion for that would be that if you, let us say there is a rule that they have to, anybody wanting to be an actress has to kind of enroll herself in a certain whatever, to the committee, like what unions are about. Like fighters, all of them have to enroll in the fighters union, Now the union, because they're all they're gathered there, they can educate them, One to one you cannot do, like you said, rightly said.
Yeah.
But if it's a rule that they have to be with this, where you're giving them a certain understanding of it, so that they'll be well armed and well informed about what can happen.
All right. I mean, that seems like information first before you're exploited. Let me also tell you, sir, that in Malayalam film industry, the makeup artists who are women, they say that we are given a card saying you're a hairdresser. So if you have to do makeup, then they say that I have to do sex on demand or favors or, make compromises with all these makeup dadas who are there right on the top of the union. Mr. Varma, one thing, I may be informed, but if... So what do I do? You look at it. I mean, even if there are rules.
That's what I'm saying. See, my point is what you said in the beginning of our chat. You said something. The power, exploit the power.
Yes.
Which is actually the main point of this whole thing. No matter which department it is, whether it's the film industry or the various departments in the film industry, when someone is vulnerable, it is a tendency of some human beings, maybe not all, to take advantage of that, But now the advantage of that is also coming not really because of a direct force, like a rape or something. It comes from a mental intimidation, like you're taking off the food from your mouth. If you don't do this, so they come from certain desire, certain ambition, and a certain necessity, certain whatever reasons the actress will come. So she will be probably be mentally intimidated more than anything else to make her feel that she'll be a complete failure if she doesn't comply.
Yeah.
Now, and when that is happening on a one-to-one basis in such kind of circumstances, I feel except for really making the girl know, what... I'll tell you one example, I was long time back, one actress, struggling actress, she asked me, is it okay to sleep for work? Something like that, So I told her, I don't think it's so much about sleeping. Because see, when you're saying can I sleep for work, which means you're doing it on the promise of work. Right. Now, if the work doesn't happen, see, what you think of, being physically intimate, how seriously you take it is a personal issue. That I don't want to comment on. You know? But if you're doing it because someone is promised you work, and if he doesn't do that, and that will scar you forever, because you lose your trust in life and in relationships and everything. So that is a more serious issue for me than the so-called physical intimacy.
Right, but I feel terrible that an artist has to ask. I mean, it's a choice to sleep, to have relationships. I'm not here to sit on judgment. But if the end goal is to get work, Mr. Varma, if the end goal is to get work, like I'm a journalist, if my end goal is to get work and therefore get into a relationship, that shows the sad state, and it is not that it is only in the film industry.
Nobody is saying it's not a sad state. I am talking about the practical aspects of it.
Yeah. Mr. Varma, Mr. Varma, I also want to talk to you about, what, I don't know if you want to comment on it, but yesterday on Sunday when Rajnikant was asked, he said, what Hema Committee? I don't know anything about it. This kind of silence, you are coming out and speaking about it, Mr. Varma. You may have your own opinion, but whether it is the big daddies who are the actors who sit there and films revolve around them, when they talk like this, don't you think that, I don't know what to do.
I am sorry to disagree with that, because the basic point here is, Mr. Rajnikant has been in the industry for God knows 40, 50 years or something. In terms of when something happening, and a star is about him doing his work as an actor. So I don't think it's a part of a committee with a responsible organization. It's not like giving two bits about it, this should not happen, and making those noises. What will that... So I won't be able to speak for him, whether he knows about it, whether he is busy in something else or whatever. But even if he talks, what can he talk? Unlike Mr. Mohanlal, who was a president of that committee or something, I don't think Rajnikant is in any such post. So what can he say? I'm not able to imagine what he can say.
Right. And
condemnation, obviously everybody will do. Whose ears is going to go and fall into?
Right. I also, before I let you go, Mr. Varma, in the Telugu film industry where you started your career, in 2022 there was apparently a report, but nothing was done about it. There was complete silence. They said it's very vague. Come with something which is, it's vague because, I do not know the reasons. But do you think that if a report is made, Mr. Varma, whoever, I get along, 6 people do it, the government has to do something about it. You can't just say, okay, fine, you've complained. It's not a school, right?
Now, if suppose any of them go to a police station and complain that so-and-so has done such and such thing, that recourse in the law is anyway there, no? Whether the committee is there in between, how does it make a difference? Any of them could have actually gone to the police. And right now, the laws are very strict with regard to any kind of harassment towards women, irrespective of whether they're the film industry or not.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't see that,
All right. On that note, Ram Gopal Varma, thank you so much for speaking with us. It was a complete pleasure and an honor. Thank you indeed.